Welcome to the Rodney O'Hepsian Show. I am your host, Rodney O'Hepsian. As I'm sure you just noticed, I don't have an English accent. And right now I want to talk about English accents. I have had enough of them. I'm sick of them. This is ridiculous. Oh, Jerry Pop, play, went to the left and like that. What the hell is that? Do you have any concept of how ridiculous you guys sound? It's time for the English to actually speak English correctly. And it's time for them to actually speak real English, American English. Yeah, I realize that English originated in England, but it's not about being first chronologically. It's about being first in reality. And in case you Englishmen don't realize it, USA is number one. Now, I know that some of you are going to say that that's subjective. You can't say for sure that USA is number one. Well, I guess so, but let me just refer you to this poster behind a great American, Wally George, and the poster's telling us that USA is number one. Yeah, I'd imagine there's some posters that say England is number one or Great Britain is number one, but, I seriously doubt those posters actually sell in significant quantities because even Englishmen aren't ridiculous enough to believe something like that. As ridiculous as they are, and let's not kid ourselves, they are ridiculous. They're not crazy enough to actually think that they are, in fact, number one, or even in the top 10. I think USA occupies all 10 spots. I'm not saying that USA is number 2, number 3. It's number 1, but no other country should be allowed within 10 positions of it. It's time for the British to get rid of their bullshit variant of English and conform to the correct standard, the American standard. I also think that we should start taxing you. We should start taxing England. Consider it payback for all the times you taxed us. Remember that? Yeah, we want our money back. An interest has been accumulating. You guys collected, I don't have exact figures here, but I think it's a lot of money. 7.5% interest annually, compounded. You do the fucking math. You owe us a lot of money. I want it back, so we're going to start taxing you. 10%. We're also going to add an additional 50% on your stamps and your tea, just, because that's fucking justice right there. Killing bin Laden was justice. By the way, we didn't kill him in 2011. George W. Bush killed bin Laden by punching him in the kidney in 2001. And taxing British stamps and tea, 50%, not actual stamps, you know what I mean. The Stamp Act. That's also justice. And but just to be fair, we'll give you some representation. You didn't give us representation, okay? But we'll give you some representation. We'll let one British person in the House of Representatives. We won't actually give him a vote because, come on now, that's crazy. We're not going to give English people votes. They're fucking nuts. But we'll let him hang out there. Maybe he can just entertain us, maybe some British humor. I'm not really into British humor, so he'll have to Americanize that British humor, but I'll tell you what, that motherfucker better not have a British accent. Alright? It's fucking United States of America. That's fucking House of Representatives. He's going to speak English, which means American English. I'm talking accent-free English. American English doesn't have any accent. You fucking British assholes have an accent. Okay? He's going to entertain us with his Americanized British antics. And I'll tell you what, Jesus does not have a British accent. By the way, I'm not actually Christian, but I still think this is of great significance. Jesus doesn't have a British accent. Yeah, I realize that he spoke Aramaic, Hebrew, and maybe a little Greek. Definitely not Arabic. I can rule that one out. But come on now. Do you actually think Jesus would have a British accent? Yeah, and I don't think he's particularly fond of British humor either. I cannot see Jesus enjoying some Monty Python ridiculousness. No. He watches Leave It to Beaver like a real American. And I know for sure he's not an Obama supporter. I guess this doesn't have much to do with British people, but, I should bring it up anyways. Jesus doesn't want you to vote for Barack Obama. I'm not saying he wants you to vote for me. I'm running for president in 2012. I'm not going to say something like that. That's also a possibility, though. He might want you to vote for me. You never know. I have a real Christian... I'm not a Christian, but I have a Christian attitude. I believe in Christian forgiveness, kindness, charity, tolerance. 99% of the time. That's pretty good. That's more than most Christians, might I add. It's certainly more than most Muslims. So, I'm not going to tell you who Jesus wants you to vote for. That wouldn't be right. I'm respectful. Just like Glenn Beck is respectful of Judaism. Atheists, on the other hand, they don't respect anything except maybe Islam. And I mean Islamic fundamentalism and terrorism, not Islam the religion. They dislike the religion, they love the terrorism. I'll bet England's loaded with atheists. I don't have the exact figures here. Let me find some. Why did Richard Dawkins come up first? Richard Dawkins' Wikipedia page came up first? Maybe I should talk about Richard Dawkins. That guy, we should tax him more than 10%. 100%. 200%. Just whatever money he has, it's ours. Richard Dawkins, you're a piece of garbage. Richard Dawkins, what a joke. I'm having a tough time finding a good figure here. Give me a second. Okay, I don't have figures on atheists per se and England specifically, but in Great Britain, roughly half of the population has no religion. That number is increasing. Yeah, okay, that's enough. I don't need exact figures. We know there are a lot of atheists there. Let's talk more about Richard Dawkins. I'm going to get into that in another video. That'll be like a 300 video series on Richard Dawkins. Each video is going to be 10 hours long.